understand that there are no reasoned amendments being taken this evening. And whilst I understand that there are those who will vote against this bill tonight, I think it is important that they not only hear and share the concerns that they have, but they listen to members like myself, who shares many of the frustrations and omissions and areas for improvements within this bill, but recognise that it will pass in any event. And so therefore I would encourage them over the weeks to come to collaborate with members who share some of the concerns that they have. It is also right, Mr. Deputy Speaker, to recognise that controlling the borders of the United Kingdom was a key and fundamental reason why the majority of people within our country voted to leave the European Union. We support the principle of ending uncontrolled immigration and treating those wishing to enter the UK from the EEA and the rest of the world both fairly and equally. However, we are not ignorant of the impact that such a sharp and poorly tailored approach to ending free movement could have on the growth of certain important economic sectors, particularly in Northern Ireland, such as agriculture and hospitality, if current access to labour is not replicated in an appropriate way. May I also welcome the elements of this bill which reiterate the rights afforded to UK and Irish nationals to work, reside and access government benefits in each other's jurisdiction. Such provision was enshrined in national law well before either country joined the EU and was never going to be threatened by the UK's exit from the EU. We do, however, express concern that the government's recent decision to amend the settlement scheme to allow family members of British and British-Irish citizens dual citizenship. This was intended to placate certain aspects whose spouse, partner, or British citizen as a result of being born in Northern Ireland and therefore were not eligible for what is a scheme explicitly for EU 27 nationals. The reality is that citizens born in Northern Ireland under the Belfast Agreement have the right to both Irish citizenship and British citizenship, but it's in addition to British citizenship, not instead of it. That issue strikes to the very heart of the principle of consent. On the settlement scheme, we believe there is a duty on government to honour the provisions of the Citizens' Rights chapter of the withdrawal agreement in good faith, with compassion and with clarity. At the same time, we do not believe it would be helpful to use this bill as a vehicle to reopen, replace or expand the terms of that chapter. EU citizens need clarity and continuity at this time, not uncertainty or the prospect of false expectations. Much depends on the outcome of the negotiations on the future relationship, and I would therefore ask that the Home Office step up its efforts to fill any void with information in respect to the operation of the settlement scheme, including in terms of the effectiveness of appeals, how applications still pending on the 31st of June 2021 will be dealt with, and how local authorities are proactively seeking to ensure looked after children are treated fairly and sensitively. We need to ensure that EU citizens, many of whom have contributed to UK society on a level far surpassing the minimum requirements set out in the settlement scheme, including in the NHS and care workers during this current crisis, are not disadvantaged. Officials should be looking at reasons why status should be granted as opposed to reasons why not. And clarity is required on the reasonable grounds for missing an application. The DUP supports a compassionate and an open approach to refugees from communities and other countries affected by terrorism, war or persecution. We appreciate the need to review routes for members of individuals and believe that it would be best to get international cooperation outside of the free movement debate. We believe consideration should be given to mitigations for those family members of EEA citizens who have been convicted of domestic abuse and whose status in the UK could be linked to their perpetrators. The new points-based system, the intention to implement a single skills-based system of immigration in the UK, treating all migrant workers from anywhere in the world on a fair and equal basis, is, Mr. Deputy Speaker, a welcome development. And as this bill progresses, we will be seeking change, yes, but we want to see a regime which is fair, which is sensible, and which will be to the benefit of our country and its contingent parts. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.